paralyzed from sitting on the toilet for too long. He was watching videos on his phone while he sat on the toilet until his family became concerned as to why he was taking so long in there. After 30 minutes, someone came in to check on him and found him on the floor unconscious, and he was rushed to the hospital. At this point, he was already paralyzed. The doctor said that he was in the same sitting position for a long time, which limited his blood circulation in his body. Also, the air circulation in the bathroom wasn't the greatest due to the enclosed space, so when he suddenly stood up.
What's up, YouTube? Welcome back to my channel. How you guys doing? If you guys are brand new here to the channel, you guys don't know what we do, let me talk about it for you guys, man. We break down the most scariest and creepiest videos on the net, on the web, from YouTube videos to TikTok videos, IG reels, Facebook, anything weird, usual, and unexplained, you can find right here on this channel. Just want to thank all my supporters, man, who come back to the channel each and every single day, watching the videos entirely, man. Commented down below, even if it's just to say hi, guys. It really helps us and it pushes us in the algorithm, so really appreciate it. And most importantly, hitting that thumbs up button as well. Found this video for you guys today. Let's do what we do best, seekers, man. Say it with me, y'all. Don't leave me hanging, man. Let's seek the truth.
This is why you need to stop using your phone when you sit on the toilet. A 24-year-old man from China became paralyzed from sitting on the toilet for too long. He was watching videos on his phone while he sat on the toilet until his family became concerned as to why he was taking so long in there. After 30 minutes, someone came in to check on him and found him on the floor unconscious, and he was rushed to the hospital. At this point, he was already paralyzed. The doctor said that he was in the same sitting position for a long time, which limited his blood circulation in his body. Also, the air circulation in the bathroom wasn't the greatest due to the enclosed space, so when he suddenly stood up, the lack of oxygen to his brain caused him to pass out. But this isn't the first time something like this happened. Another man in China had to be rushed to the hospital when he noticed a ball-sized lump fall out of his anus while he sat on the toilet. It turns out that was his rectum, which was caused by the fact that he sat on the toilet for too long. So doctors have said that when you don't focus on doing number 2, this can lead to constipation, which causes strain and pressure down there. So moral of the story, let's start leaving our phones outside the bathroom.
Crazy.
Yeah, I'm gonna need you guys. That's a warning sign, man. Don't use your phone in the bathroom, man. We all been guilty of it, including me, but I update my life with these facts, so we won't be doing that anymore.
Things happening in the world right now. Champagne sales are down 15% in 2024, and multiple champagne executives have said that people are just not celebrating as much. This dog went in for a teeth cleaning and was spayed instead. These astronauts were only supposed to be in space for 8 days and now have to stay in space until next year because of new safety concerns. A new study came out and said that when Barbie learned what a gynecologist was, millions of other people did as well. It was recently revealed that this US woman who was tied to a tree in the middle of the forest in India tied herself to it. New research is suggesting that mayonnaise may help us develop perfect nuclear fusion. Remote work is to blame for Google's struggles with AI, according to the former CEO. This man was given 40 sausage rolls for 40 years of service at his job. This woman in her 70s was fired from Home Depot after failing to stop a customer from using a suspicious card to spend over $5,000 in fraudulent charges.
Weird Nature
How's she gonna stop that?
Part 26. The Blue American Rabbit was developed in 1917 by Louis H. Salisbury. Although it's natural, he never revealed what breeds he used to create this variety. In 1998, Honduras built a bridge over the Choluteca River, but the water was rerouted by Hurricane Mitch that same year. This mutated octopus with 85 tentacles was captured on an island near Japan. Known for its protrusible jaw and nail-like teeth, the goblin shark has only been seen about 50 times since its discovery in 1897. In 1493, Christopher Columbus mistook manatees for mermaids and wrote, "They're not so beautiful as they're said to be, since their faces have some masculine traits."
Simple psychological tricks that actually work. If you want someone to give you more information, try staying silent after they answer your question. The awkward silence will force them to continue talking. If you think someone's staring at you but you can't catch them, try yawning. If they also yawn, they've been probably staring at you the whole time. If you're in a conflict with a significant other, Try using food to diffuse the situation. Have you ever been mad while eating a pizza? Follow me for more.
No, I haven't.
First songs you should never listen to. Barney's I Love You song. I love you, you love me. Yeah, this is a cursed one. This song can actually send you mad. It has a sick and disturbing past. It's the most overplayed song used by the CIA to torment prisoners. And music used for torture is a pretty interesting psychological concept, and this song makes it pretty easy.
This is why you
Whoa.
should really monitor your child when they're online, especially when they're using websites like Roblox. On October 17th of this month, the Sheriff's Department had received a phone call about a 2-month-old baby who had been dropped on the ground and was suffering serious injuries by their 10-year-old sibling. The one who made this phone call was Gulf Coast Kids House, and they do forensic interviews and medical examinations of children who are suspected of abuse. When the 10-year-old was having the forensic interview, she described that she dropped the baby on the floor at the direction of someone that she met online, and she was actually very terrified of this person, and she felt like if she didn't follow the instructions of this person, that person was going to come after her. It was revealed that the person that was communicating with this 10-year-old was 36-year-old Tara Alexis Sykes, and they were communicating on Roblox. Tara was giving the 10-year-old various methods on how to harm this baby, including drowning the baby, putting the baby in boiling water, and dropping the baby on the ground. Tara also gave instructions to the 10-year-old on how to unalive the adults in the house by cutting their throats. She then told the 10-year-old to douse the sheets with aerosol spray and set the adults on fire. The 10-year-old allegedly set out some of the instructions. For example, she dropped the baby on the floor and she doused the sheets, but she was unable to set the adults on fire. Tara was arrested and charged with attempted murder and is being held without bond. It was revealed in court documents that Tara is actually related to the 10-year-old girl, but they did not reveal on what kind of relation. Thankfully, the 2-month-old is expected to survive, and the police did not announce any charges against the 10-year-old.
What do you think about that case, man? It's like, bro, there's weirdos everywhere. Now you have to watch, especially online on Roblox, man. It's just so much access to kids, bro. Any weirdos can get into it and make them do things that they're not supposed to do. You gotta be more vigilant. How sad. You see through that.
The longest things in the world. Longest English word. Pneumona ultramicroscopic silicovolcanoconiosis. Longest YouTube video, 596 hours. Longest song, Rise and Fall of Bossa Nova, 13 hours long. Longest film, Logistics, over 35 days long. Longest day of 2021, Monday the 21st of June.
This case makes
Wow.
no sense, and the internet is pleading officers to look into the case further. This is the young teen that sadly lost her life after being locked in a Walmart oven. Walmart employees started posting on social media why her death was suspicious. This employee shows how hard it is for someone to accidentally lock themselves in an oven. Check it out.
These ovens are so hard to shut. From the outside, you have to push them. I'll show you. See that?
Ooh.
So you swing it open too hard when you get something out of the oven. Let's see what happens.
Whereas this talker showed how the door doesn't lock on itself. So someone had to be on the outside that latched it.
It closes by itself. It doesn't. It doesn't latch.
Oh.
It's designed not to do that.
So let's say she did get in the oven somehow, she would be able to get back out. Apparently some of the ovens also have like emergency shutoffs from the inside in case this does happen. So it seems like someone was on the outside that locked her in it. Because even if the door swung closed behind her, it wouldn't have been able to latch itself. Let me know your thoughts and theories in the comments below. How do you feel about this case?
I think somebody definitely pushed that door.
Literally makes you prettier. My name is Angel, and I've been studying in the field of psychotherapy the past 7 years, as well as being a makeup TikToker. And guess what? I just got out of a lash appointment because I cried all of my lashes off this month. And am I mad at myself? Not one bit. Because psychologically, crying is a sign that you're healing, not a sign that you're broken or weak. Why? Because your body is designed with something called lacrimal glands. Lacrimal glands are activated when you cry. When your lacrimal glands are activated, your body immediately goes from a state of fight or flight to rest and digest. Your body and your brain are literally threatened when you're in a state of fight or flight. But when you're in a state of rest and digest, you are healing. Your brain becomes prettier and healthier when you feel your emotions deeply. Don't feel wrong for crying. You're actually going in the right direction.
What if I told you that
Good
your cat
advice.
was a secret spy that was sent by the government? I know this sounds absolutely insane, but hear me out. In the 1960s, there was a CIA program called Operation Acoustic Kitty. The goal was to quite literally use cats as spies. The idea was they would implant these transmitter devices in the cat. They would eavesdrop on Soviet Union conversations. The CIA believed that cats blended in more than other animals, and that they could easily be trained to approach targets and transmit audio. This project cost $20 million, and the first spy cat was hit by a taxi. Rest in peace. In order to do this, the CIA implanted the radio transmitter into the base of the cat's skull, and sewed a microphone into its ear canal, and embedded an antenna into the tail of the cat. Here's an x-ray photo for reference. This is like a literal monstrosity. Like, they're literally ripping apart these animals and like putting an antenna in their tail. And the way that they were gonna control the cats is by using audio cues. Thankfully, there were a lot of complications with this like operation, and they ended up closing the project in 1967. It feels so bad for these little kitties. Hello for more.
Psychology hacks to read anybody
Insane.
like a book. When he agrees with you, but he's shaking his head, he's definitely lying to you. When somebody sits back in their chair, they're showing that they're tired of the conversation. When they're rubbing their hands together, it means they have a positive feeling about something. Follow me for more.
Okay, we know where that be came from. Slice Adams. That thing bro, about the cats was insane, man. What is it with the CIA, man, and trying to make animals into spies? I just don't think it can work.
Facts about Earth that will make you question everything. The ocean contains about $770 trillion worth of gold, which is enough money to build your own ocean in your backyard. The hottest place on Earth is Death Valley, California, and it's reached temperatures as high as 134 degrees Fahrenheit. And while we're on the subject of temperature, Antarctica can reach 60 degrees Fahrenheit in the summer. And this is the Kitty's hognose bat, which is the smallest mammal on Earth.
This is the smallest prisoner in the world, and you will not believe what this guy actually did. Back in 2015, a group of kids were left home alone after the mother and father went out to get some pizza, when the young boy put his baby sister in the oven. Now, you've probably seen these videos about this story all over social media. Now, although some of the information in these videos is completely fake, the majority of this story is actually 100% true. So the kids were left home while their parents went out, and they decided to put the baby sister, who was like 18 months old, in the oven. Reportedly, one of them opened the door and shoved her in there, while the other one turned the heat and made it hot. Reportedly, when the parents came home, smelled some sort of cooking, and it wasn't good. Now, the kids had been playing around and playing a game. They didn't know what the oven was, so it was meant to be a prank and a game between them with no parental supervision there. It went very, very wrong. Now, the parents were actually charged because of this, and the kids, of course, were far too young to even be investigated, really. And both the parents were actually charged with 2 counts of endangering a child and murder.
Do you know why Michael Jackson's skin became so white? Michael had a medium brown skin tone as a kid and teenager, but in 1983, when Michael was 24 years old, his skin started to change colors and it was scary. Random spots appeared on his skin and they gradually lost their pigment. In 1986, Michael's doctor informed him that he was suffering from a skin disorder called vitiligo. Vitiligo gives people white patches on their skin and makes them sensitive to sunlight. This is why Michael often walked under umbrella and wore hats that shaded his face. Apart from vitiligo, Michael Jackson also struggled with lupus, which is another kind of disease where the immune system mistakenly attacks its own tissues. To treat his conditions, Michael used skin creams and makeup to hide uneven color patches on his skin, but many people criticized Michael and said he was trying to become white, but Michael had his own reasons, and he explained them.
I have a skin disorder that destroys the pigmentation of the skin. It's something that I cannot help, okay? But when people make up stories that I don't want to be who I am, it hurts me.
Facts that I wish...
Never knew that. I mean, you know, people, they have their theories, man, about, you know, Michael Jackson, I guess, recovered another person because I didn't know, like I said, he had a skin disorder. Hey, man, we all gotta do our facts. We all gotta do our research, bro. That's interesting.
I didn't know. When you die, the last thing to go is your hearing. So as all your other mortal sensations are leaving this world, the last thing you're ever going to experience are the sounds going on around you, which very well could be like your family members crying or cheering. By the year 2050, there's going to be more plastic in the ocean than fish. When pigs get a cold, like a cough, very often they will shoot their intestines out of their anus, and farmers have to, like, stuff it back in.
Yeah. I never knew that.
Ridiculous facts that will make you laugh. A woman earlier this year brought a baby hedgehog to a wildlife hospital thinking that it was hers, but in reality it was actually just a beanie. Queen Elizabeth one time actually accepted an invite to a random wedding that invited her. In the 1980s, an army supply clerk accidentally ordered a $28,000 anchor instead of a $6 lamp because of a mistype in an order number. What? There was a rumor that Stephen Hawking would deliberately run over people's toes that he didn't like. He denied the rumor by stating that it was malicious and that he would run over anybody's toes that spread it. Animal Planet aired a fake documentary about mermaids that made thousands of people convinced that they were real. Twice. And it wasn't even on April Fool's Day. It was in May 2012 and May 2013. It was the most watched telecast on Animal Planet since Steve Irwin's Memorial 6 years before. This teenager's art was not discovered by his parents for multiple years until they looked at their house on Google Earth.
What the? Why would he put that on top of the house, bro? I even did it. Slap the mess out of me, bro. What the hell?
Are your toys alive?
What did I just walk into?
Would you ever roll out me? New fear unlocked.
It's too realistic.
Gotta be careful here. Well, that puts an end to my tarpon fishing. Wow.
You're a brave soul.
Get back.
This is a war game about...
That's exactly what I would have did, Seekers. I'm especially was that alligator crocodile? It don't matter. I'm hitting it just as soon as I see something come out that water. Like I said, we was the bravest still even standing there, man. I would have been gone.
About trying to survive your sleep paralysis demon. Let's talk about a horror game called Silent Still. The entire point of this game is that it's trying to recreate the feeling of having sleep paralysis. And while your character can walk around during the day, at nighttime when you go to sleep, you cannot move. You are completely frozen. All you can do is look around your room while your sleep paralysis demon walks about. It basically tries to recreate that feeling of helplessness. One of the interesting parts about this game, though, is that it actually tries to tell a story. During this time, your character is discovering that they have sleep paralysis, and they're trying to figure out how to deal with it. There are 3 nights, 3 sleep paralysis sessions that you have to get through in this game, and a few of them scared the absolute hell out of me. I don't want to spoil anything, especially because the last night takes the game in a completely different direction than I was expecting, but I do have a full playthrough of this game on my channel. I hope you know that you have a lot to be proud of about yourself, and I'm proud of you simply for the fact that you haven't given up.
All the horror news that you probably missed.
I have to check that out.
This found footage movie series just announced a new installment.
we'll be getting Hell House Lineage, and it's supposedly the last but scariest Hell House movie. Hell House Lineage will take place right after Hell House Origins, the Carmichael Manor. So watch this one if you want to be all caught up in time for the new movie. If you're a fan of Hill House, Midnight Mass, or Fall of the House of Usher, then you probably know that Mike Flanagan is now making shows for Prime Video. And his next project is an 8-episode miniseries based on Carrie by Stephen King. I'm a fan of literally all of Mike Flanagan's Stephen King movies, so here's some bonus recommendations. I already know that Carrie is going to be amazing. Creep is one of the best found footage horror movies on Netflix, so I'm very excited for the Creep Tapes, which will be a found footage TV series, where every episode is another one of Peach Fuzz's previous victims that we haven't seen before. Longlegs, Saw, and Stephen King is a match made in hell, and I am so here for it. Because the director of Longlegs, Osgood Perkins, will be directing The Monkey, based on a short story by Stephen King and produced by James Wan. Neon actually sent me a sneak peek of a kill scene from this movie. Even though I definitely can't show it on here, I will say that it got me so excited to see the rest of the movie. This one is going to be a bloody good time. In a Violent Nature went super viral all over social media when it first came out. And one of the cast members just announced that there will be a sequel in A Violent Nature too. Hopefully it'll have even crazier kills than the first one, but I have no idea how they're going to top this scene. And that's...
This photo is of the most dangerous man on Earth, the Cincinnati Crawler. This actual photo was captured by the family back in 1974 after this man entered their house, and escaping shortly after the photo was taken. So in 1974, the Johnson family lived in Cincinnati. It was a quiet neighborhood, they had a nice house in the middle of the countryside, not much went on here, until they started noticing very strange things happening. Their 14-year-old daughter would regularly say that she would see these eyes outside of her window at night, peering in, staring at her. And with most nights the sounds of banging and footsteps, which they thought was just rats or some kind of pipes. Till one night, their youngest son was laying in bed, ready to go to sleep. The family dog would regularly come in to sleep with the young boy and just stay on his bed, but he felt the dog jump up onto his bed slowly and went to pet it. But it wasn't the dog. That was when he spotted this guy at the end of his bed, just standing there. After everybody had spotted him, the man ran out of the house and has still never been found. Though reportedly 4 other young children had gone missing in this area at the same time in the 70s, which police believe he could have been responsible for. On top of this, in the 60s and 70s, there was a lot of human experiments going on in the exact same place.
Psychology hacks to read anybody like a book. If somebody is closing their eyes when talking to you, they're probably hiding something. When a person covers their mouth, it means that they don't want to say what they're thinking. When a person is rubbing their chin, they're trying to make a decision. Follow me for more.
That's just ain't facts, man. I always write those down. Those psychology facts, man. You can analyze a person by learning those, I guess, traits that people be doing when they're talking to you. I was an edit. Oh, what the hell?
Yes, you saw that right. The moon was just hit by a giant meteor and exploded. We have at least 24 hours to prepare before fragments of the moon reach Earth. Expect massive meteor showers and some pieces big enough to take out entire cities. Media is reporting that without the moon's gravity, our oceans are about to be unpredictably wild. Tsunamis will strike coastal lines around the world, and if you live near a coastline, get you and your family to higher ground as soon as possible. They are also saying the Earth's tilt and rotation will start to wobble. This means insane, unpredictable weather and extreme storms that can cause chaos. You need to stay inside and safe, because now that people think the world is ending, there will be riots, loots, and people just not listening to the law at all. Things are about to get very scary very fast. I'm not gonna lie, bro, we just all gotta stick together right now. Take care of your family and take care of each other, man. I don't know what to do. Please share this video because this was just a prank. It's creepypasta, and you can really scare your friends with this.
Crazy things happening in the world right now.
That was
Zoom,
edit.
the app widely used for remote work, is telling its employees that they need to come back to the office.
What?
For Mental Health Awareness Week, McDonald's changed their Happy Meal to just the meal. The Red Lobster found a rare orange lobster in their batch and decided to donate it to the Denver Aquarium. Florida put new state line signs that welcome drivers to the free state of Florida. Japan is running surveys on their young people, asking them why they're not getting married amid a population crisis in the country. The OceanGate co-founder said that he wants to dive to the portal to hell that sits in the Bahamas. Costco is now selling apocalypse buckets where you get 150 servings of food that will last for 25 years. 65,000 coffee mugs randomly went missing in a Tesla factory. A recent study published says that young adulthood is no longer the happiest time of a person's life. Another study published that you actually can't have too much money, and that billionaires are significantly happier than millionaires.
Let's talk
Wonder
about
why.
the cannibal that made a real-life snuff film. So on May 29, 2012, mysterious packages began arriving at various businesses around the Montreal area in Canada, including an elementary school. Each of the packages contained the severed and decomposing remains of a 34-year-old man named June Lin. Police were able to trace June's last known whereabouts to the apartment of 30-year-old Luca Magnotta. Now, Luca was a man who was so obsessed with getting famous that he was willing to do the most disgusting and vile acts imaginable just to get people talking about him, which included posting videos of himself online torturing and unaliving kittens. Police were able to determine that June had been unalived on May 24th, 5 days before his severed limbs were mailed to police, and using that information, they discovered something even more disturbing. On May 25th, the day after June was unalived, Luca actually uploaded a video to the website bestgore.com entitled One Lunatic, One Ice Pick. The video depicted June Lin tied to a bed completely naked, and Luca standing over him before stabbing him repeatedly in the chest and the neck with an ice pick. Afterwards, the video depicts Luca decapitating June and then cutting off his arms and his legs. From there, the video gets even worse, and it shows Luca using June's severed head and his severed arms to masturbate himself. After that, Luca is seen cutting chunks of flesh and meat away from June's buttocks and then feeding them to his dog and also attempting to eat them himself. Luca stated he did all this in an attempt to get famous and that he was not sorry at all for what he did, and he's currently serving life in prison.
So this is widely considered to be one of the most credible
Heinous.
paranormal experiences in U.S. history. For upwards of 88 different witnesses, independent witnesses, within a 72-hour period in this home who claimed to experience some sort of phenomenon. The home was occupied by the Gooden family. Very normal, very suburban, husband and wife, and their 10-year-old daughter at the time, Marcia. What was interesting was that the occurrences in the house actually dated back to 1968 when the family heard scratching and unexplained knocking coming from inside their walls. In November of 1974, a crowd appeared in front of the home because there was something unexplainable going on inside. A collection of 5 different officers were called to the home, all of whom claimed to see appliances lift off the ground and levitate. People claimed to see the cat talk. People claimed that objects were flying off the walls, dishes were smashing on the floor. Even Ed and Lorraine Warren showed up to the home. Given all of the police reports and the records of this incident and how it has gone unexplained for so many years, what do you think really happened?
Cute animals that could actually kill you. While this creature is about the size of a teddy bear and has big, adorable eyes, experts say to stay away from a slow loris at all costs. If you even attempt to pick it up and hold it, it will most likely feel threatened and try to bite you. And their bites are filled with a fast-acting poison, so it's best to just admire its cuteness from far away. Seals may look adorable swimming and splashing in the water, but these guys are not to be messed with, especially if they're leopard seals. Leopard seals are known to be extremely aggressive and have been reported to attack researchers if they get too close to them. And even though their bites might not be enough to kill you, they can still leave you with permanent damage. Swans are seen as one of the most beautiful animals, but if you ever see one swimming around in a lake, don't even think about feeding them. Just like other wild animals, swans will assume that humans are threats, and if you try to feed them, they'll just get closer to you until it tries to bite you. Most people see dolphins as one of the friendliest creatures that everyone wants to swim with, but the only people that should be swimming with them are professionals. Wild dolphins have an instinct to attack without a clear purpose, so if you plan to get in the water with them, it's best to swim at a nice distance, because you'll never know what state they're in.
Creepy last words people said right before dying. A 20-year-old gang member was dying of primary liver cancer. In his last days, hours, and moments, he was angry. The family called the hospice nurse into the room and told her that they thought he was going. He wasn't responding, his eyes were glossy, his skin was cold, the end was imminent. His lovely mother whispered to him to go towards the light, to her Jesus. He opened his eyes, looked at her, and said, "F your Jesus." A second or two later, he slowly turned his head to the left and got the most horrific look on his face, as if he was looking at something that they couldn't see. And horrified, his face contorted, and he screamed with his last breath, eyes wide, "Oh sh*! Oh sh*! Oh no!" Then he made a guttural noise and promptly fell back into the bed and died. Every family member was shaking and too frightened to speak. The hospice nurse left the room and took 2 days off. She said she doesn't care if she never finds out what he saw.
What did he see, Seekers?
AIR is not something that's terribly new, but have you heard about the woman
that is haunting AI pictures is the face, and nobody can explain why she keeps showing up in AI images. If you look at her, she's not really general. I mean, there are specific characteristics here that are consistent. Again, nobody knows which prompts are generating this woman. Nobody knows why her face continues to appear in different models. So this has opened up one of my favorite questions about the idea that AI pictures can be haunted. And don't forget, if things like this are of interest to you, make sure to go check out the podcast.
Dirty facts about history.
Damn, what do you guys think, bro? We know AI, man, that technology, it keeps getting more advanced. So could that have been a glitch, or was somebody doing that on purpose? Or was it really just haunted, bro? AI is going in. It's not like we can control it, we can regulate it, but it's getting too advanced for my taste.
That school probably didn't teach you. In the 1400s, prostitutes wore wigs on their lady parts with fake pubic hair to prevent lice and cover up any syphilis sores before doing the dirty. An intern at NASA once stole a safe full of moon rocks, sprinkled them on a hotel bed, and proceeded to have sex with his girlfriend on top of them. Man was sentenced to 8 years in federal prison for getting his rocks off. Raphael, the Italian Renaissance artist, not the Ninja Turtle, died of exhaustion from non-stop sex. In other words, he boned till he croaked. A common hairstyle in 17th century Europe was the Polish plait, a gross, smelly mass of crusty, matted hair cemented together by pus, nits, and dirt. The hairstyle was believed to have healing properties and could supposedly protect people from illnesses. During the Iron Age in Ireland, a new king would be crowned in a ceremony in which he penetrated a horse in front of an audience. The horse would then be eaten for dinner by everyone who just witnessed them doing the dirty.
Hell no. I don't know what type of rituals and stuff they was doing back in the day, but that ain't it. What the hell? Edit. Call him out.
There was only one child when this photo was taken. Let's enhance it with sharp AI. Her and Mrs. Colton were taking a picture of their daughter. When they developed it, they were shocked to see their older daughter, Anne, who had to 3D only months prior in an accident. The other child seems to be sensing a presence, but after this picture was taken, they never saw Anne again.
How the hell did AI know that? It's getting too advanced. I'm
Did
telling
you know
y'all.
that there is a mummy in Sicily that blinks? Yes, she blinks. This is Rosalie Lombardo, who died of pneumonia in the 1920s at the age of 2 years old. Rosalie is perfectly preserved, from her external features to her internal organs, but that's not the strangest part. Her eyes are still as blue and flawless as the day that she passed away. She simply looks like a child taking a nap. But this child tends to open her eyes and close them randomly, like she's blinking away the cobwebs. People have come to see her for hundreds of years, and every time, visitors will leave and say, "That dead girl is blinking." What do you think it is?
How the hell is she blinking? We seen by the clips that we viewed together how sometimes, you know, like even the body after it passes, it goes on, like it still does, like, I guess, weird things because of build up gas and things and stuff like that. But to be blinking, I've never heard that before. I need you guys' theories on that one.
I bet you don't know how false teeth were originally made. In the very beginning, most sets were made of animal teeth. These proved to be uncomfortable and ineffective. So that's when they started venturing into using human teeth in dentures. In the 1700s is when sugar became widely available across Europe, and sugar started to cause the teeth to decay way more rapidly. It wasn't uncommon for a peasant to remove their own tooth and sell it for a quick buck. There was also an issue with grave robbing to obtain teeth. Of course, neither of those were needed when Waterloo teeth became a thing. With over 50,000 young men lost at the Battle of Waterloo, suddenly they realized they had an overabundance of teeth. So it wasn't uncommon at all for someone to be wearing the teeth of a soldier.
People were stealing teeth back in the day. The more you know.
Is this the one that allegedly appears in the cemetery at night? Yes, it is. So this right here is Fabiola Rodriguez's grave site, and in August of 2020, her mom noticed that certain things were going missing, like toys and personal belongings from the site. A grave nearby this one, they have a camera attached to it because somebody had been vandalizing their son's grave. So anyway, these people notice this on their camera footage and go to the cemetery owners who say, we know who that is. So they get her contact information and introduce themselves to her and say, hey, we have something really beautiful to show you that we caught on our camera. And her mom just broke down into tears because she was like, that is my baby. I know it is. That is my baby. It also captured her walking away with what appears to be a man. And her mom, Sandra, said, I think she was there to take him to heaven. They both have a tragic story of things that happened to them. And I mean, both of them still haven't gotten justice. So I think she was there to comfort him and take him to heaven. But yeah, I mean, isn't that just amazing?
The camera caught it. She said it was her baby, so I'll take her. We're going to have to check up on that one. Mysterious.
This is the scary story about the mom. One night, there was a 6-year-old girl who woke up in the middle of the night to her mom standing over her bed, staring down at her with a creepy smile on her face. The girl knew something was wrong, but she couldn't put her finger on it. The girl then said, Mom? Yes, she replied. What are you doing, the girl asked. Watching you sleep, she said. Why, said the girl. The mom didn't say anything and kept staring at her, smiling. They each didn't say a word to each other for minutes, but still keeping eye contact with each other. Then the mom began to walk backwards, still staring at the girl with that creepy smile, and then went into the girl's closet and shut the door. The girl then got up and ran to her mom's bedroom and saw her mom asleep in her bed.
Why was the mom staring over
Deadliest
her?
disasters in human history.
Oh.
Part 1. In 1986, the Space Shuttle Challenger broke apart 73 seconds into its flight, killing all 7 crew members aboard. The astronauts actually lived through the initial explosion and survived for nearly 3 minutes before they died on impact with the water. In 1184, a group of nobles gathered in a room in the Church of St. Peter above the latrine pit of the monks. All of a sudden, the floor collapsed due to their combined weight, causing 60 nobles to fall to their death into a pool of poop and sewage. In 1893, gifts were being passed out at a magic show in Victoria Hall. Over 1,000 kids tried to force themselves down a narrow staircase that led to a single door that opened inward. Only one child at a time could pass through, causing 183 children to be crushed to death.
Man, what the hell? All over some damn toys. These, man, like I said, when we read these clips together, bro, it's always bothering my mind, man. We learning new things every single day. Tap in with us.
Animals that became serial killers, Part 2. The sloth bear of Mysore. In 1957, the sloth bear of Mysore mauled over 30 humans and took the lives of 12. The sloth bear's killing spree didn't stop, and the bear just had a desire for killing. The killer sloth bear went missing in late 1957, after the killings took place. What do you think ever happened to the sloth bear of Mysore?
Whoa. Did they, like, hunt for it or try to take it down, or they just let it roam?
In California, when their son began to say something very creepy.
On a family vacation that took a strange turn. He visited the same area where a missing woman was last seen.
He said that there was a woman staring at him in the field nearby.
Got goosebumps. He said she needs our help, but she's dead, and she's laying face down with her legs up. She can't talk to me, but she's over there. We need to go help her.
Freaked out by this, both of his parents went to go check the surrounding area, but found nothing.
He said she has a black shirt, blue jeans, and blue hair, Mom. He kept saying, trust me, Mom.
After arriving home, Victoria posts about the experience to Facebook, and not long after she does so, the police came knocking at her door with photos of a woman named Sandra Johnson Hughes. She had gone missing in the exact same location 1 year prior. Authorities would then proceed to exhaust their efforts searching the area over the next few days. Sadly, they would find nothing. If what this little boy was saying was true, experts believe that any evidence of her remains would be long gone by now. Could Caden have actually seen the ghost of this woman, or is his description merely a coincidence? What do you believe?
Black shirt and blue hair. He describes down down to blue hair. Said she has a black shirt, blue jeans, and blue hair, Mom.
Hayden was able to identify 3 out of 4 pictures of her. Detectives went back to the meadow with the Gorba family to investigate, but the case remains open.
That is insane. How he nailed like that description. He must. Whoa, that's really mind blowing. You guys really think you saw something? This world, man.
Terrifying animals who are glad are extinct. Number 1, the megalodon shark. This animal can grow to about 60 feet long, and one tooth is said to be the size of a human.
Damn.
They were meat-eating creatures that could kill and destroy just about anything. If they were still around today, oceans would be off limits. Number 2, the titanoboa. This snake weighed about 2,000 pounds but was also 40 feet long. The snakes killed their prey with constrictions, meaning they would suffocate them to death. Number 3, the Caprosuchus. Just imagine if a T-Rex and a crocodile had a baby. This animal looks like a crocodile, but it has very long legs and can run very fast. The Caprosuchus could run as fast as 40 kilometers per hour. For context, the average male human runs at just 13 kilometers per hour. What's more?
Morbid facts that will give you nightmares. When a prisoner is electrocuted in an electric chair, they can feel absolutely everything. They are fully aware that their body is being fried in real time, and one prisoner that survived said he actually smelled and tasted like cold peanut butter. Human corpses decompose 4 times faster in water than underground, and 8 times faster if left in the open air. It takes around 359 humans to have enough iron to forge a sword from their blood. Just about 3,000 people go missing every single year in the US. The last execution by guillotine was in 1977 in France. That was exactly the same year that the first Star Wars movie came out.
Insane to think about the last fact.
These are animals that used to be giants, part 1. Up first are bears. And yes, we all know bears are still pretty big and dangerous, but nothing is compared to what bears used to look like. So you see this mountain, and you see how it looks like it has a bunch of claw marks up and down it? Well, that's because it does. This mountain is called Devil's Tower, and there's a very disturbing story behind it. The scratches on this mountain are actually from a giant bear's claws. The bear always tried to reach the top, but it never could. This story has been passed on to generations of Native American tribes. And just imagine coming in contact with a bear this big.
What the hell? See, could you guys believe that one? A bear that big, man, was trying to crawl up that mountain? They said that story's been passed down for generations, so... I can't even imagine seeing a bear like that. The whole ecosystem would be different.
This picture has in common. There might be a lot of people who don't know this, but they were a part of the original case that inspired the film Scream. It was 1990, Gainesville, Florida, at the University of Florida, where a string of horrific crimes took place, and it involved those students. And when I think of almost every victim involved, Krista's story is definitely one of the most chilling, as her body was first found, but her head was found separately on her dresser. There were all these suspicions, and eventually some circumstantial evidence would put this kid behind bars, especially because he looked the part. The problem here is that he wasn't the guy. This was like a 72-hour period where it was just back-to-back slayings, till eventually they found their culprit, who was camping out in the woods outside of the university and was recording himself singing songs about what he had done. And if you want additional details on this, we covered a whole episode getting into the back.
I never knew Scream was based off that. I'm telling you, man, these media pieces, they be based on true stories. We just don't know the real backstory behind it, man. Another one. Exposed.
We figured, look, if we can remake perfect copies of these Parthenon sculptures, the visitors will have the same experience when they come to the British Museum. They'll see these amazing statues, they'll understand the aesthetics of antiquity, the Greeks would have their treasured objects back, and everybody would be happy. That was the plan. The British Museum decided they would take a very strong position against the project. So of course we did it anyway. And we did it guerrilla style, because we read the regulations for the museum. It says specifically, visitors may use 3D scanning equipment in the museum, and they may use the product of those 3D scans for any non-commercial purpose. Boom, we're done. So we went in guerrilla style and made scans of all the Parthenon sculptures.
I mean, so what's the pitch? Why should the British Museum have the copies, not the originals?
The Parthenon sculptures in their current state teach people absolutely nothing. In fact, they misinform people about the aesthetics of antiquity. These things were brightly painted with skin tones and garish colors. So the British Museum could take these copies, and not only could they display them in exactly the same form in which they are being displayed now, they would also have the capacity to restore them to the condition they were in when they were on the Parthenon, and so people can really understand what the aesthetics of the ancient world were like, and to see them in their full glory.
Today's true crime story is
Yeah, so why did the British Museum, why did they want the real ones instead of, I guess, the replicas that they were making? That's the question we need to really be asking.
Pretty chilling, okay? This one even scared me, right? But anyways, this has some very disturbing and graphic details. Viewer discretion is advised. In the early 1900s in Bavaria, Germany, the group of family lived in this farmhouse called the Hinterkaifeck. The family consisted of husband and wife Andreas and Kazilia, their widowed daughter Victoria, and Victoria kids Joseph and Kazilia. The family noticed a lot of strange things going on around the house. Andreas noticed a set of keys that were missing, and also there were footprints in the snow leading from the woods to the house, but there was never no footprints ever leaving the house. There was also a newspaper in the house that Andreas never remembered buying, and it looked as if someone was trying to pick at the lock on the shed. While all these strange things were going on, they had a maid at the time, and the maid was like, "Look, I gotta quit. This house is haunted." The family kept hearing noises in the attic, and the maid just like, "Look, I can't be here anymore. The noises in the attic, all the stuff going on around here, I can't do it."
She's smart.
Although strange things continue to happen in the house, the family ends up hiring a new maid named Marie. What the group of family did not know was that those strange things would lead to their murder. On the evening of March 31st, 1922, the group of family was murdered. Victoria's son Joseph was killed in his crib, and Maria was killed in her bed. What's so crazy about this is that same day, March 31st, 1922, that was the same day that the maid Maria was hired. Meanwhile, the rest of the group of family was found murdered in the barn, and they were stacked on top of each other. When people in the town didn't see the family for days, they grew concerned, and the police came to the house, and then that's when they discovered all the bodies. All the victims were killed by a pickaxe, but the police were so puzzled about something. The family wasn't found until 6 days later, but it seemed like someone had made themselves at home. Police noticed that food was being eaten, the animals were being fed, someone was sleeping in the beds, sitting on the furniture, things like that. For years, the police were looking for the suspect or suspects, but they couldn't find anybody. So the case was closed in 1955, and the year after the murders, the whole farmhouse was demolished. To me, I feel like someone was able to sneak into the house without the family's knowledge and was living in the attic for months. That's what I think. Alright, y'all, that's it, and I'll be back to do more true crime videos for you guys.
Heard cases about that before, people being in the places and they don't know.
In 2018, both of these women were found decapitated in Morocco. And trigger warning, this story is extremely disturbing. Now, like I mentioned earlier, this story takes us to Morocco, but specifically to the Atlas Mountain. And the two victims were Louisa Jespersen, who was 24 years old from Denmark, and her friend Maren Uland, who was 28 years old from Norway. And in December of 2018, both of the women had decided to go on a month-long camping trip in the mountains. And both of the women had also been studying outdoor activities at the University of Southeastern Norway. They were also apparently roommates, and they were training to become guides. Now, it's believed that both of the women were being targeted by the men that ended up attacking them. Not only were they targeted, they were also observed for multiple days before the entire thing happened. And on December 17th, both of their bodies were found beheaded inside of their tents by another hiker. Shortly after that, there was a video that went viral on the dark web that supposedly showed one of the beheadings. And even though you could dig deep enough to find this video, I really don't recommend watching it. Just reading the comments alone about the video and what it shows are extremely disturbing. But I'll describe it for you guys in the least graphic way possible. Now, the video is quite short, but it begins with one of the women being filmed on what appears to be a cell phone. At first, she's being filmed while she's lying down on her stomach. And you can see one of the perpetrators trying to cut her head from the back. When the perpetrator realizes that this was not going to work, he then turns her around so she's facing up. He then puts his foot on her face, kind of locking her into place on the ground, and proceeds to decapitate her. And apparently all you can hear in the video is her screaming for her life as she asks and begs for her mother. Eventually, authorities were able to find their main suspects, which were these three men here. And the three men were known for having pledged their allegiance to ISIS. And the reason for them doing this to these two innocent women was because they believed that they were enemies to their god. And then in July of 2019, the three men were found guilty and were given a death sentence. And although one of the men did take the easy way out and took his own life, the other two are still waiting for their sentence to be executed.
Beat the System, Part 4. Firstly, this woman really wanted to bring her bottle of water on a flight. But if you've ever traveled on an airplane, you'll know that you can't carry more than 3.4 ounces of liquid with you. So in 2013, she came up with a genius loophole. She carried a large can of water with her, but the water was frozen. And according to the law, you can't carry water in a liquid state, but you can bring frozen water. Moving on, you can't bring alcohol to a music festival. But in 2017, a man named Alex Diamond came up with a genius idea. A few days before the Electric Zoo Music Festival, he went to the site and buried a water bottle filled with alcohol, pinning the exact location on Google Maps. A few days later, when the festival started, he went to the same spot and dug up the bottle. Finally, this kid was having fun playing games on his computer, until his parents told him to go outside and play. So he took his computer outside and started playing there.
Those 5,000 IQ moves, man. The hell are we watching? Those are definitely some edits, right?
This might be the scariest thing that ever happened to America. We all know that America had a lot of scary things happen to it. But this has to be the scariest thing ever. On August 29th, 1968, every single TV in America shut down. But a demonic whispering was coming from every TV in America. Many people believed that it was the devil trying to get across some message. But nobody really understood it. This lasted for about 25 seconds, then all the TVs came back on. To this day, nobody knows what caused it or why it happened, but everybody believes it was the works of the devil.
What do you guys think? What was that? What was the cause of all those TVs going out and for this playing that audio? Was a message trying to get through? Were they testing something? Because you know how they be testing stuff with the TVs. Some questions, man, that's coming into my mind.
After a massive manhunt, the missing hiker has been found alive after 10 days. And how he survived is crazy. 34-year-old Lucas only planned an afternoon hike in California's oldest state park. So he set out with very few supplies and not even a t-shirt, expecting to return home in a few hours. However, he soon became disorientated as recent wildfires had destroyed familiar landmarks. And since Lucas didn't tell anyone where he was going, the alarm was only raised after he missed Father's Day lunch 5 days after he set out. This sparked a massive manhunt involving nearly 300 people and multiple agencies. While they searched, Lucas wandered the forest, slept on wet leaves, foraged for berries, and drank water he collected from his boots. Without a t-shirt or any supplies to start a fire, he developed hypothermia. He was stalked by a mountain lion, and things got really bad when he got injured after slipping on a wet rock face. Lucas lost over 30 pounds and spent the last 48 hours just lying there screaming for help. On day 10, a drone and a sniffer dog finally found him, and at last he was reunited with his family waiting for him on the forest's edge.
Man, goes to show you, everybody needs to have some natural, I guess, camping ability or skills, because you never know what can happen. Or you'll be put in that situation. Where's this guy?
Scariest interviews with serial killers. Serial killer John Hughes. John Hughes was convicted of 15 murders and sentenced to life in prison in 2010.
Damn.
When he was interviewed and asked if he would kill again, he said this.
Because you'd kill again.
More than positive. I got different thoughts. Then he was asked if he felt bad for the murders he had committed, and this is what he said.
You don't feel bad about killing anyone?
Not personally, but I've personally done myself, no.
Why?
Wrong place, wrong time. Follow for more.
Very eerie, man. No remorse.
Do you know how weird time is? If you have two twins that are 20 years old and you sent one of them to the star Sirius at 99% the speed of light and then flew back again, the twin who stayed on Earth would be 37 years old and the twin who was traveling would only be 22 years old. Every single person on Earth, including you, is living in the past because our brains don't perceive an event until about 80 milliseconds after it's already happened. It is a very fine line, but that's why some physicists argue that there's no such thing as the present moment. The way that you perceive the passing of time is heavily dependent on the language you use. People in most Western cultures perceive the passing of time as being left to right, because that's how we write, but other cultures perceive it as up to down, east to west, or right to left. Time is actually passing faster for your face than it is for your feet, because the closer you are to the center of the Earth, the slower time moves. A year at the top of Mount Everest is 15 microseconds shorter than it is at sea level.
Wow.
What could this strange creature be? An alien, or perhaps a demon? What we need to keep in mind is that when the body of a fur-bearing animal decays, especially if it's in a moist area or submerged in water, the fur will often fall off before the skin decomposes. And it is for that reason that I am very confident we are looking at nothing more than the corpse of a decomposing monkey.
Creepiest home camera footage. In 2017, a mother in Billings, Montana woke up in the middle of the night to a notification on her phone. Her phone was synced to a baby monitor she had set up in her infant daughter's room. On this night, upon being alerted, she opened the app expecting to see her daughter awake in the crib. But instead she saw this. A man she didn't know is seen crouched down in the room. She saw this and ran to the room to retrieve her daughter and run out the house. She didn't see anyone in the room but wasn't exactly looking. When she called the cops, they arrived and conducted a search of the home but didn't find anything. A very odd detail is that it was found that nothing but the remote to a dog shock collar was stolen from the house. Who this man is and how he got in the house is still unknown.
That's crazy. That's really like one of my worst fears. Like somebody's in your house and you have no idea they were there. Like, that's very creepy and eerie, man. How somebody can be in your house and they could be in that vicinity for so long and you have no idea. That's insane. Where's this guy? Edit. Call it out like you see it. He's known for his edits.
These are things humans should never hear, part 1.
Okay.
What I'm about to show you is a simulation of what happened to Alaskan Flight 261 following a catastrophic loss of pitch control, killing all 88 people on board. This is real audio footage of the plane going down between the pilots and air traffic control. The plane went inverted, meaning it was flying upside down, and just listen to how calm the pilots are.
No survivors? So calm. Damn.
Genius people who beat the system, part 1. This student was only allowed to have a one-page cheat sheet. So they wrote a whole page of notes in blue pen and another page in red pen. They then brought 3D glasses to class, so when they looked through the blue side, they could see the red pen, and when they looked through the red side, they could see the blue pen. This guy's new job required a photo of him in a suit for their new website. But since he doesn't own a suit, he just photoshopped his face over this guy's face, and honestly, it looks pretty real. A girl's dad went to Vegas for 5 days and put a camera in the living room to make sure she didn't have any parties. But the girl wasn't going to let that stop her from partying, so she came up with a pretty creative solution. This parking spot says only green vehicles can park there, but I think the owner of this car took that a bit too literally. This kid's mom told him that food wasn't allowed in the living room and his tablet wasn't allowed in the kitchen, so it's safe to say that he beat the system.
People, man. When they want to beat the system, they'll think of something. What the hell is that?
God. This creature, nay, this nightmare, is something so incredibly rare. It is likely that none of you have ever heard tell of its kind before. It's called a turtle.
What?
Here's some of the greatest conspiracy theories of all time. Part 4. The Grinch has a well-known backstory about hating Christmas. However, eventually in the movie, his heart grows 3 sizes and he loves Christmas once again. But this story may continue longer than we think. It is clear that the Grinch isn't exactly right in the head, but during one of the Grinch's wacky stunts, he could have gotten a head injury. This injury would later take a toll on him as he grew old and caused him to lose his memory. After him and his dog died, they were given a new life in a realm called Halloween Town, where they now lived as Jack Skellington in Zero. He later reunites with his love for Christmas, just like he had when he was alive. Both eventually wear a Santa suit, both deliver presents, and both have a dog companion. It may be possible that how the Grinch stole Christmas and the Nightmare Before Christmas are tied together.
Connected, man? Media's connecting?
Blood-curdling facts that you wish you never knew. Part 16. Kangaroos are absolutely terrifying, and if you mess with one, it will likely lure you into the water and attempt to drown you. There's an abandoned Disney park that you aren't allowed to go to, and it was shut down in 1999 because it was infested with free-roaming alligators. The animals were being abused, and an 11-year-old boy died from a flesh-eating bacteria found in the park's waters. In the movie The Wizard of Oz, the lion's costume was made out of a real skinned lion. This is the John Lawson house. No one knows who lives there, but every single day, there are several female mannequins sitting on the front porch wearing a variety of clothing. Their positions and outfits change daily, and many believe this is meant to convey some sort of message. And in 1871, a train crash took place just 200 feet away from the home, killing 22 people. And these mannequins are always pointing toward the crash.
That's some crazy info, especially about those mannequins outside the house. I think somebody commented on, like, they give a reason why that's there, but need to check that out again. But the things we heard about the saying when the skin lions vegan suit, there was a lot of rumors that some weird stuff was going on behind that movie. So, and you know how Hollywood is nowadays. So now imagine back in the days what was going on then.
Inuit tribe crafted tools out of space metal. 10,000 years ago, this meteorite landed in the Arctic in northern Greenland. An entire Inuit community sprang up around it just to make tools from the iron in the meteorite, which resulted in badass stuff like this, a spear made from a narwhal tusk tipped with space metal. They didn't even have enough wood to make fires to actually forge the metal, so they had to cold forge it, just hammering it with giant stones until it was the right shape. The tools were so valuable, they were traded as far away as Norway.
Damn. It kind of sounds like a Wakanda, freaking like origin story. How the metal just fall to earth and they just made weapons out of it, or just forged it. It's actually insane. The parallels between those two freaking
When the bravest bear in
stories.
history was just a cub, his mother was slain by hunters, and the poor orphan was carried off to a train station in Iran. But when he was rescued by Polish soldiers fleeing the Soviet Union, they bottle-fed him back to health with milk and honey, and on cold nights he even cuddled up next to them in their tents. Imitating the soldiers, he learned how to smoke, drink, and wrestle, and when the men went on patrol, he'd march alongside them on his hind legs. When a spy broke into the Polish camp, he sniffed him out while hiding in the showers, and when the intruder laid eyes on his furry foe, his panic scream alerted every soldier within miles to his presence. But when the Poles boarded British boats bound for the Italian campaign of World War II, they were presented with a strict policy prohibiting pets on their ships. Yet not willing to leave the brown bear behind, they found a loophole and formally enrolled him into the Polish army as a private. During the famous Battle of Monte Cassino, the Germans had fortified a monastery upon a hill and had devastatingly repulsed 3 prior attacks. But carrying crates of ammunition that would normally require 4 strong men, the courageous cub charged up the hill, successfully resupplying the Polish artillery. And even in the face of heavy enemy fire, he never dropped a single crate, allowing Allied forces to capture the stronghold and gaining promotion to corporal for his bravery. After the war ended, the Iron Curtain prevented the Poles from returning home, and so the brave bear was brought to a zoo in Scotland, where he was frequently visited by his fighting friends, who'd often bring him treats and jump into his enclosure for a good wrestle. And it's said that for the rest of his life, he would happily stand up and salute whenever he heard Polish. When you're the most ferocious furry fighting force to ever fight for the free world, they don't just call you the bravest bear, they call you Corporal Wojtek.
Could you live on a pillar for decades without coming down? It sounds impossible, but this was actually a way of life that emerged around the 5th century CE in the Eastern Roman Empire. These Christian ascetics were known as stylites. They would eat, sleep, fast, write, all on top of a pillar for years without coming down. They would rely on the locals to give them food. The earliest known stylite was a man named Simeon. He was a Christian ascetic from the 5th century CE near the city of Aleppo in Syria. He wanted to be left alone, so he climbed up a pillar. He actually became more popular when he climbed up and started living on here, so his plan sort of backfired. He ended up spending around 37 years living on a pillar. Travelers would climb up ladders to reach him just to have a conversation. Certainly an interesting way of life.
How the hell they stayed up there for so long?
So this preacher from Zimbabwe claims he can walk on air.
Okay. Is this an edit?
Well, I'm convinced. Hail Messiah! There's definitely no other explanation for why his feet were off the ground, like people on the side holding him up. That's definitely not what happened. It's not like you can see the shadow of the door closing on his left when you slow down the footage. Just shut up and tell me where to donate my money. I mean, come on, it's not like people use religion to scam people. I mean, yes, the preacher has a nicer house than all of us, but then again, he walks on air and we don't.
Case closed. Is he scamming like that? And people will believe it?
Terrifying sounds extinct animals used to admit, and the last one's the worst. If you don't know this extinct mega chicken, you must be living your life under a rock. This is a dodo bird. 3 feet tall, 45 pounds, and a pair of chicken wings that are more useless than a penguin's. It can make an omelet for a family and produce a sound that would cause me to move to Mars. The lizard that got into your bag of tread, the velociraptor. Or should I say Jurassic Myth, because they didn't look like this at all. Hollywood lied to you. At least the film's fuck-up looks more like a Utah raptor. This is actually what a velociraptor looks like. It's basically also just a giant chicken. Moving 25 miles per hour and hunting in packs isn't the scary part. It's the way they sound. The only difference between this next animal and my meat is that it went extinct, the Titanoboa. And if this BGC's length at 50 fuck-no feet isn't impressive enough, how about its 3 feet in girth? This twisty telephone pole could squeeze at 400 psi, crushing any 20-foot crocodile that lived at the time. Damn. And this no-bro makes a sound like no other. The extinct blubberbuzz that used to swallow the megalodon, the Leviathan whale. This living sea monster is a distant cousin of our daily sperm whale.
What?
Except unlike the living lobe we have today that primarily consumes giant squid, the Leviathan had no predators and ate everything. And the sound alone is enough to terrify me. Congratulations, you made it to the final animal. And I'm sorry you have to hear this, but the T-Rex doesn't actually look this way. Real-life Reptar looks much more terrifying with a haircut like Grandpa. And boy, do I have news for you. Their arms weren't useless. It said that they could have bench pressed up to 400 pounds. And did I mention they can also swim? The sound they made is weird, but the closest relative they have alive today is also weird. It's the chicken. I'm so sorry it had to end this way.
What?
Enjoy.
Okay. Chicken is related to the T-Rex. The more you know.
Sorry for being so unprofessional.
Whoa! Wow! No way!
It's an edit.
Hey, my name is Ajax, and in case you didn't know, I am the first and only animal made to make music born of rock, star, dust, and mold.
How many of you guys remember this girl? She went absolutely viral in 2020 for making faces in court. But before we get into her story, my name is Ashley, and if you guys like crime, creepy, and unbelievable stories, check out my YouTube channel or my TikTok for more content. So this girl's name is Isabella Guzman, and in 2013, she fatally stabbed her mother over 79 times. The video that went viral was actually from 2013, but somehow it took 7-8 years for it to reach mass audience. So initially, Isabella was quite young when she started exhibiting a lot of behavioral issues. She was living with her mother at the time, but when she was 7 years old, she was sent to live with her father. After a few years went by, her father then sent her to go live with her mother again when she was a teenager. And in August of 2013, the relationship between Isabella and her mother quickly deteriorated. They were fighting quite often, and on August 27th, they had an argument that ended with Isabel spitting in her mother's face. The following morning, Isabella's mother received an email saying, "You will pay." Obviously, she was terrified and didn't know what else to do with her daughter, so she called the police. The police arrived to her home and then talked to Isabella, telling her that if she didn't straighten up, that her mother could legally kick her out of the house. Isabella's mother then called her biological father to come talk to Isabella. He came over to their house and had a long talk with her in the backyard, talking to her about respect. According to him, he thought that they had made a lot of progress, but then a few hours later, everything changed. August 28, 2013, around 9:30 p.m., Isabella's mother, Yeonmi Hoi, arrived home. She told her husband she was going to head upstairs and take a shower. That's when her husband hears these awful screams coming from upstairs. Obviously, he runs upstairs to see what's wrong, and when he gets to the bathroom, he sees Isabella slamming the bathroom door shut, locking herself and her mother in the bathroom. He tried as hard as he could to get that door open, but it was locked. All he heard was screaming and an obvious struggle going on. Then he saw blood seeping through the bottom of the door and called 911. Then, as the door was opening, he heard his wife say the word Jehovah, and then Isabella walked out of the bathroom with a bloody knife. Apparently, Isabella didn't say a single thing, just stared at him and walked away like nothing had happened. Runs into the bathroom to check on his wife when he discovers that she had been brutally stabbed 79 times. Unfortunately, she passed away. By the time police arrived, Isabella had run away from the home, but police quickly found her the following day, hiding in a nearby parking garage. On September 5, 2013, Isabella was brought into court for the first time, and that's where we see the video of her making all these faces. Later find out that Isabella was actually suffering from schizophrenia and had delusions for years. According to her, she didn't remember that she was stabbing her mother. She thought that she was stabbing a woman named Cecilia in order to save the world. The judge accepted her plea of mental insanity and sentenced her to a mental facility. In June 2021, Isabella was given permission to leave the hospital for her therapy sessions. She has expressed remorse for what happened, but also said that her mother was extremely abusive towards her.
Dr. Disrespect was sent to jail this morning. This tweet is going viral for literally exposing him. I don't want to read some of this stuff on TikTok because this video might get taken down. The former Twitch employee just exposed him for
Oh my gosh. There's no name that was mentioned for the person that he was doing it to, but it has came out that it was Dr. Disrespect. Now, as a lot of people know, Dr. Disrespect has been banned off of Twitch for like a couple of years now. And the reason was always unknown. Dr. Disrespect, even on stream, say like, I can't say like why I was banned on Twitch. It's like a whole legal thing right now. Basically, you couldn't leak it because it was all legal and like you just couldn't tell all of his audience. The fact that he was hiding something that maybe was this that is so disgusting, dude. But he doesn't, like, I know you can't really say that. It doesn't look like a person that would do that. Like, bro is a white, bro has millions of dollars. I don't think he would ever do something like that. That's exactly what the comments say underneath this tweet. Fake news, the information isn't confirmed by Twitch. Honestly, this whole tweet is just speculation. Let me know if y'all think this is true, and what do y'all think about this? Dr. Disrespect was actually talking to a minor. He just confirmed this on Twitter. This wasn't a joke. Everybody thought the news was fake, and that's why he was banned on Twitch, because he was talking to someone underage inappropriately, but no. This is the tweet that he just tweeted. I'll just cut to the juicy part of it. Were there Twitch whisper messages with an individual minor back in 2017? The answer is yes. He was speaking to someone underage, which is fine, right? These were casual, mutual conversations that sometimes lean too much in the direction of being inappropriate. I guess Twitch saw that in his DM, and that's why he got banned. Oh, that's insane that he literally admitted this. That's actually crazy. He did say, but nothing more. Nothing illegal happened. No pictures, no crimes. But you know, that's good. I mean, it was just Twitch whispers. But like, bro, this is so surprising. Like, he has a kid. He's a fam, multi-millionaire, like 6'6". Like, you would never think a guy like this would ever get in like a... You never think you would get caught up in something like this. Yeah, what do y'all think about this? Apparently, he didn't do anything illegal, but the rumors were true. This is what all this...
That's crazy, man. Dr. Disrespect, you know, is one of the biggest streamers in the world. I don't understand why people in positions like that, they always... It's like they can't control themselves. They always have to do something immoral, man. Man, people was always wondering why he got banned. I still remember he got freaking banned on Twitch or something like that. It was trending, and people kept asking him why. But he could never give an answer. But now, I guess you know why. You wouldn't want something like that to come out. That's basically going to end his career. I don't know how we're going to come out from this. Never in a million years would people think this was the reason why Dr. Disrespect was banned.
Streamers had to say about Dr. Disrespect: explicit messages to a minor. This is the saddest one of all, Tim the Tatman. As you know, Dr. Disrespect and Tim the Tatman went way back. They always played games together. I remember watching Tim the Tatman stream, and he was like all excited to play with Doc finally once he switched over to YouTube. Now that this came out, he posted this very sad story on Twitter. It was like, if the messages are true, then I just can't see myself playing with them, which makes sense. You can't support this type of behavior. By the way, guys, this isn't a made-up rumor. He did do this. He literally tweeted that the answer is yes. He did send Twitch messages to a individual that was a minor back in 2017, and they did. Some of them were inappropriate. It's crazy seeing everybody respond. Jacksepticeye guy says effing disgusting when he puts like the tweet out. Pokimane just tweets out yuck. That's crazy. Ray says Dr. Disgusting. 40,000 likes. That's insane. Then Nadia responds. Never mind. Who cares about Nadia? My bad. And of course, Nick Merckx responded. I'm not going to put that up on here. Get a lot of extra stuff to say, so I'll go on Twitter and look at that. I don't know, man. The guy's like 6'6", millions of dollars, his family, kids, and he was doing this type of stuff. And even though this was a while ago, this was a couple years ago that he got banned on Twitch, I don't know. What do y'all think about this? This is really sad.
This is one of the most terrifying things that can happen to someone while on vacation. In this viral video, you see 43-year-old George Gillian and his wife Lizette Zambrano being electrocuted in a hot tub at the Sonoran Sea Resort in Mexico. George and Lizette stayed at this resort with other family members when, on the evening of June 11th, they both decided to go in the hot tub when all of a sudden George felt an electric shock. In this interview, Lizette said that the last thing her husband said to her was, "Oh shit," before he was electrocuted over and over again.
Last thing I remember him saying is, "Oh," and it's the same time that I felt the first electric shock. And then it happened over and over and over. I didn't hear him again.
People who saw everything happen tried to help them out, but they couldn't do much because they were also being shocked by the electrical current. Lizette was eventually pulled out of the water with no pulse, but she was given CPR and she did survive. Unfortunately, her husband did not, and now she's suing the resort for $1 million. The lawsuit says that George was being electrocuted and drowned for 10 minutes all while the people who worked at the resort watched and did not turn off the hot tub. It's alleged that there was faulty wiring in the hot tub which caused the electrical current. And while this is a rare occurrence, it's been said that some indicators of an electrical current inside a pool includes any underwater lights that might not be functioning properly. And it's also been advised not to swim before, during, or after a thunderstorm.
Things human were never meant to see.
It's a tragic case.
Anton Lavey, founder of Church of Satan.
I won't mention his name, but it was a big leader and founder of a huge satanic organization. And he was on his deathbed. And for a Satanist, at the time of death, it's a great victory for them because death is a huge thing that they celebrate. And he was getting ready to die, pass on his powers and that. And on his deathbed, he must have got some revelation or an angelic appearance or something. And he went into shock and he said, oh my, what have I done? He said, there's something very wrong. There's something very wrong. There's something very wrong. And his whole life had been spent propagating these satanic beliefs.
Alistair Crowley, the man who spoke to demons.
Let's talk about...
What do you guys think? Do you think he saw something at the end? He was on one side, but when he got near close to the end, he completely, I guess, changed or switched his viewpoint. He must have saw something. What do you guys think?
Well, the unsolved case of Mr. Cruel. Mr. Cruel is the name given to this unknown man. He's a serial child predator. He attacked and assaulted 3 little girls in northern Australia. His crimes took place in the 1980s and the 1990s. He's been wanted since 1987, and police describe him as extremely intelligent. He meticulously stalks all of his victims and their families, and he leaves purposeful distractors at each site. There's also no forensic evidence left behind at all from him. He also always wore a mask to protect his identity, and it worked. And those masks you see on the left and right of me are so creepy. Something about the way that the left one looks over here is really messy. Apparently his behavior was unhurried and very calm, and he was soft-spoken. At one point during one of his attacks, he took a break to have a meal in the family's house. And he threatened the victim and the family if they even moved. So he straight up had these people in their own home while he ate a meal, and then continued his attack after he was done. Dude is an absolute psychopath. Investigators believe that he took videos and pictures of his attack during the incidents, and if he is still alive, this will be one of the key clues in getting him. He still walks free to this day, though. Let me know what you think in the comments section, and happy Halloween.
How the hell they left no forensics behind? Do you know how like impossible that is? And they never caught him. We're gonna have to catch up on that Mr. Cruel case. See if they caught him at the end, man.
This is the devastating case of Kylie Rodney. On August 6, 2022, 16-year-old Kylie went missing at Prosser Family Campground in Truckee, California. Kylie attended a school party with more than 100 kids, but it's alleged that older people also showed up, which made a lot of the teens uncomfortable. Kylie texted her mom right before midnight and told her that she would be home in 45 minutes, but the following morning, Kylie's mother got super worried when Kylie was still not home. One of Kylie's friends said that she was with her the entire evening until she decided to go home at 12:20 a.m. Police searched Prosser Lake for more than 15 hours but were unable to find Kylie's vehicle. But on August 21st, a group of divers who go by the name Adventures with Purpose decided that they would help look for Kylie. It didn't take the group of divers much time to locate Kylie's car, only 14 feet underwater. The car was upside down and Kylie's body was inside. The investigation is still ongoing and the autopsy results have not been released yet. So what do you guys think happened to Kylie? Was this a tragic accident or was there foul play involved?
I'm gonna go with foul play. There was a party stuff going on. The
This
people
man
showed
is the
up.
real Humpty Dumpty, and his story is much darker than you think. Deep in the eerie town of Puddlebrook, Kentucky, resided Gilbert Eggman, a man plagued by misfortune. His tale took a sinister turn when he joined the construction crew. Perched atop a towering brick wall on his very first day, 3 co-workers, fueled by malevolence, sent the ladder crashing down. Gilbert's pleas for help fell on deaf ears. Desperate to rescue him, the trio resorted to a crane. But destiny had other plans. The crane, guided by an unseen force, struck Gilbert, sending him hurtling to a grim demise. The town whispered of Gilbert's curse. In the following months, darkness consumed Puddlebrook. One by one, the 3 construction workers met their untimely ends, each death shrouded in mystery. Gilbert's curse, it seemed, had unleashed its wrath upon them, becoming an urban legend in the small town.
Caution for the...
So Humpty Dumpty was based off this Gilbert's curse story? We're seeing more and more cases, man, like I said, about medias that we've been watching as a kid that's really be based off true stories, but they just, I guess, switch it and turn it into something else. So you lose the, like, original point of the story. Man. Humpty Dumpty, who would have knew? That's like one of the oldest pieces of media.
The photo that you are about to see. This was captured on the Ring doorbell of Jessica Gerald on a 2014 morning around 3 a.m. It is the only shot that we have of the man who broke into her home. For context, this is a small town right outside of Omaha, Nebraska. Like, bad things don't happen here, or so everyone thought. Unprovoked and completely without motive, the man was seen on camera around 3, and then he uses a glass scoring tool where he very quietly makes a hole in the window and then enters through the living room. So the following morning, Jessica Gerald, she doesn't go into work, so her family is contacted. They go to her home, where she is found without her head or her tongue. Media investigation was launched where the footage was eventually recovered. The man seen here had also posed her body without the head sitting up at her kitchen table.
Eerie case, man.
Let's talk about this couple who cheated on the show Who Wants to Be a Millionaire and thought they got away with it.
Oh.
You just want $1 million!
This all happened in 2001 when Charles Ingram was a contestant on the show, while his wife Diana and a man named Tequan Whitcock were in the audience helping him cheat the entire time. So how exactly did they notice that Charles was cheating? Well, throughout the entire show, the sound technician noticed a loud coughing coming from the audience at specific times after Charles spoke.
I don't think it's an animal. Megatron, mega, yeah. I don't think it's Megatron. I'm sure it's Google.
After reviewing the footage, they noticed that the coffee came specifically from Tequan and Diana whenever Charles mentioned the right answer after the 4 options. They were able to catch a total of 19 coughs, which came from his wife and Tequan, which signaled the correct answers. But not only that, Charles' strategy throughout the game was very odd because he would state the 4 options out loud, and it was clear that he didn't know the answer, but somehow he always got it right. Then what producers found strange was that after Charles got every question right and won £1 million, he was seen arguing with his wife backstage. At the time Charles left the set, they began investigating and they did not hand over the money to him. All 3 of them were found guilty of conspiring to cheat, but till this day they've maintained their innocence, and Tequan still argues that his coughing was because he had allergies and it was all a coincidence. Ultimately, if Charles didn't cheat, he would have only won £1,000 that night.
Man, cheating on the game show, bro. People be taking it to the next level, and they really thought they was gonna get away with that. Like, you literally heard that loud ass call, and that just can't be a coincidence. And he got the right answer. Nah, they literally got caught in 4K. That's insane, man. I wonder how many other people try to cheat on some game shows.
This is the disturbing moment. This woman laughed in court after she took this 3-year-old's life in a random attack. On June 3rd, police received numerous phone calls about a stabbing at a grocery store parking lot in Ohio. At around 3 p.m. on this day, 38-year-old Margot Wood was loading groceries into her car while her 3-year-old son Julian sat in his car seat. That's when 32-year-old Bianca Ellis entered the car and began stabbing the little boy. When Margot noticed, she tried to stop the the attacker, and as a result, she was also wounded. Julian was then rushed to the hospital where he unfortunately passed away. Now, what's disturbing was that this was a random attack, and after looking at surveillance footage, the attacker was seen following the mother and the child in and out of the grocery store. Then, when Bianca was brought into court, the judge began reading out the indictment, and she was seen smiling and laughing the entire time. And after an assessment was done on Bianca, they're arguing that she has bipolar disorder and had a psychotic break, which explains why she did what she did. And this story only gets crazier. Before this incident, Bianca confessed to another murder in Bakersfield, and she even gave details of what she did with this person's body. She also warned officers that if she wasn't arrested, she was going to murder someone and eat their flesh. But none of this was taken too serious, and she was released from the mental institution, and not long after, she committed this heinous crime. This case,
you gotta listen to people have to follow up on their job, man. She's a dangerous individual, and they just let her release from that mental institution. Look what happened. People need to pay more attention, man. That's why in the store, I don't like when people follow me around, bro. You always gotta be vigilant.
Is a very sensitive topic regarding Pony, the orangutan. In Indonesia, Pony was stolen from her mother as a baby and believed to have been sold on the black market, and she was purchased by where she would be shaved every 2 days, wore perfume and makeup. The owner of this business was a woman, and Pony was chained to a bed where men would come in after paying for a private room with her.
What the?
And they did exactly what you're thinking to her. An animal organization heard about Pony and attempted to save her, but were run off by villagers who didn't want Pony to be taken away from them. But in February 2003, 35 police officers showed up and rescued Pony. She was believed to be between the ages of 6 years old and 7, and due to how the law worked at the time, no one was charged or arrested. Pony has since been kept in an enclosure as she wouldn't be able to survive on her own in the wild. But as of recently, Pony is estimated to be either 23 or 24 years old and is in healthy condition. And this is a picture of her from 2018.
This is why you should always be aware of your surroundings. A woman was walking home one night with her child when this happened. Everything's normal until a man comes out from the darkness. He then proceeds to go to the door and start banging on it, seemingly trying to get inside to the mother and her child. Ali Porath, the mother who was seen in this video, later took to social media to explain that this all happened at around 7 p.m. at night when she was returning home from getting groceries. She explains that she had seen that man before, waiting out alone in front of her house, just watching. But ever since this happened, she hasn't seen him. And that's why it's always important to be aware of your surroundings.
Preach.
So this photo is the reason you shouldn't put your feet up on the dashboard of a car. In 2007, Granny Keeley had an airbag deploy on her at 120 miles an hour. She was sitting passenger with her feet up on the dash, and when the airbag went off, her knees went right into her skull. Obviously, this led to a brain injury. Her 2 front teeth also fell out, but she lived, thankfully. She lived without a forehead for about 2 years until surgeons fitted a ceramic forehead into her skull. She had near constant headaches, and she developed gallstones because of the medication she was on. After they fitted a ceramic plate into her forehead, they injected fat from her stomach into it so it could look more natural. This is her today, so she looks very normal now. And of course, because she's in good spirit, she says her ceramic forehead is designer because it was made in Italy. She also spent a considerable amount of time educating people on why they shouldn't put their feet up on the dashboard. Because if you do, you could end up like this. And you might not be so lucky. So, if you get anything from this video, stop putting your feet up on the dash. Let me know what you guys think about this in the comment section below. And as always, these videos are for informational and entertainment purposes only.
You guys know how many times I had my feet up on the dash when I was just, riding in a car? I'm never doing that again. No more. That's dead after we saw that clip. That's crazy. It's a miracle she survived, too. You never think something like that would happen. That is, put my foot up on the dash. We ain't doing that no more, Seekers. Edit. Call them on like we see it, man. If y'all see it edit, tell me down below. I might miss some too, bro.
This is a good reminder to double check every single nook and cranny in your house. Because in 2019, this couple came home after a week-long vacation to see that there was a stranger living in their home. And he had most likely been living there while they were also in the house.
How?
Also, if you like these kinds of stories, you'll like tonight's episode. Upon arriving home after a week away, Josh Campbell tried the front door of his house, but there was a stranger on the inside pulling it closed. That stranger was 26-year-old Ezekiel Zayas, and yes, this is a video he left on their personal computers. The two were able to call the police and eventually get him out of the house, but that's when they saw all of the terrifying stuff he had been up to in the home. He also left them videos on their computers that included incredibly personal information that they had only shared with each other, meaning that he had been listening to their conversations. But the worst part was the knives. Ezekiel had left notes in the house about surgeries that he wanted to perform on the family, like a hand transplant. And when the couple went into their bedroom, they saw that there were knives and other utensils all around the bed. It seemed like he was preparing to do some sort of operation on them. Frogging stories are absolutely terrifying, and I don't want to give too much away, but you might be spooked by tonight's episode.
I cannot be the only one who hasn't heard about the 10-year-old girl that is facing first-degree intentional homicide charges for stomping on a 6-month-old baby boy's head at a daycare center, y'all. What? Oh my god. Leave a like on this video, follow for more true crime, and check this one out.
A 10-year-old Chippewa Falls girl is facing charges of first-degree intentional homicide in the death of a 6-month-old boy on October 30th.
Injuries sustained by the 6-month boy was not an accident.
This heartbroken father says he can't forgive the 10-year-old girl now accused of stomping on his baby's head.
As opposed to seeing it as a 10-year-old girl, I seen it as the person who killed my son. And she, in my opinion, deserved to be in shackles or handcuffs. She's a criminal.
An imprint of her shoe was found on Jackson's head. Jackson fought for his life for 2 days, but succumbed to his injuries.
Now the girl's mother is sharing personal photos and videos.
What's up, guys? Today's my first YouTube video.
Do you think she's been painted as a monster?
Yes, I do.
Is she?
No, she's not. She is beautiful, intelligent, smart, loves to sing, loves to play.
Today in this video, we're gonna be playing hide and seek.
She's been locked up for 9 months.
This
This video shows her getting a ride from her father during a visit at a detention facility. She's smiling, but as Dad puts her down, you can see shackles around her ankles. The girl's family says she suffers from mental illness, and they tried to get her help, but were turned away.
They denied my daughter because she wasn't 12 years old.
She was trying to kill herself.
She had several indentations, yes.
And you couldn't get her help.
I could not. They sent her home because apparently I had an age limit.
What do you guys think about that story, man? That's just tragic all around. Be getting younger and younger in each of these videos we review together.
This is one of the worst cases in human history. This is the murder of Christine Silawan. She was from the Philippines and was a volunteer in church, and she used the church every day from 4 to 6 p.m. On the day of her murder, she went to church as per her schedule, but she didn't come home after that. Her parents then started to worry, and they began searching for her with their neighbors. And what they found is absolutely horrid. They found her body in a farm where half her face was sliced like a piece of pizza, and her face was literally skinned down to her skull. Also, her brain was completely destroyed by acid. The police then started investigating, and they checked the cameras and found out that she was with a guy. The people started protesting about this case, and the case was then given to special officers. They had a lot of pressure on this. A week before this happened, she broke up with her boyfriend, so the police took him into custody. And he was proving that he was at home all day when she was murdered, but officers were completely tired of this case, and they then sentenced him as the murderer. But after a few months, a thief was caught in a store where he confessed that he murdered and raped Christine. He said he started talking to her on Facebook with a fake account
Catfish.
and was using fake photos of another guy that was pretty good looking. Christine fell for the guy, and she assumed that he was about 20 years old, and they started texting daily. One day, they both decided to meet up at 6 p.m. near the church she went to. But upon arriving, Christine noticed that this was not the guy she was talking to, and he was around 40-ish years old. She then refused to talk to him and tried to go back, but he held her hands extremely forcefully. He then took her far away from town and raped her repeatedly and put iron rods inside her personal organs. He then cut her face in half and then skinned her whole head down to the skull. And to make it even worse, he put acid inside of her head. The autopsy also revealed that her tongue, trachea, esophagus, parts of her neck, and her right ear were missing. The self-proclaimed killer of this case, named Renato Lanis, said that he used barber-type scissors and stabbed her 30 times on different parts of her body and skinned her face. Christine Silawan was only 16 years old, and this case is extremely haunting.
Damn.
There's a picture of her body that was found in the field, but Google did a really good job of not showing it and hiding it. So even if you do go looking for the picture, I don't think you're going to find it. This is one of those cases that after you get done reading it, you just feel some sort of uneasiness. I feel so bad for Christine's family, and I can't imagine finding my daughter in this state. May Christine Silawan rest in peace.
Okay, yeah, rest in peace, man. Whew, that was crazy. That was a crazy case at the end, man. Seekers, if you guys made it with me to the end of the video, you're true seekers seeking the truth. I really appreciate the support, man. Like I said, guys, make sure you guys hit that like button, subscribe, hit that post notification bells, man. We're dropping these videos daily. So like I said, I've been seeing you guys comments out. Sometimes you're saying subscribe, but you're not getting the notifications. So always, guys, make sure you check back the channel. At least come back to the channel one time a day, because I drop one video every single day, bro. We're doing daily uploads over here, so you guys shouldn't miss a day. Guys, gonna catch you in the next one, man. I'm out. Peace, YouTube.